Hi guys, and welcome back to the Hot Seat. I am your host, Priscilla, and that was just very different from what we've always had on the show. Very different energy, and I love it. I love meeting new people, seeing what talents they can bring here in studio. We're going to switch total gears to another realm of entertainment. Now we're going to go into the movie and film version of entertainment here in Las Vegas because we have so much to offer. Now, he has had a long history working in film on behind-the-scenes things, doing props, doing all of the other things, just working his way up to where he is now. He is now a CEO of his own production company, Cybrid Entertainment, and also has a movie out now, streaming, and just hitting all of those different blockbusters. So everyone, please welcome Mr. Evan Allen. Hello, thank you so much for coming. Love the hair, love everything about this, love the shirt.
Thanks for having me back.
Of course. So first, congratulations. We obviously have your trailer running for Six Wheels from Hell, right?
Yeah.
Which is your recent movie that you have that premiered. So congrats on that.
Thank you very
We're
much.
going to talk all about that. So first and foremost, you have a long history of film. You've been working in film in different areas for a long time.
Yes.
Correct? And you're from Canada.
Yeah.
Right?
Vancouver area.
Yes. So tell everyone the story of how film became your life and how it brought you to Las Vegas.
I always wanted to work in the film and music industry. I was gonna go to one of those big fancy film schools in Vancouver, and my uncle convinced me not to. He said, "Go to this film camp on a little island, and they teach you how to make a movie in a week." And so I did that, and I ended up going back for an entire summer, and I did course after course after course, and I did some music courses as well. So basically, my only film education was 2 months long, and then I applied. I sent this really cool resume with the graphics and boxes and everything off to Vancouver to a show called Dark Angel, which was James Cameron television show starring Jessica Alba, and I got a phone call almost instantly. But I still had to finish a bit of my schooling, so I was like, oh, I can't come quite yet. So then I went over there for a couple weeks, and then they're like, oh, we don't have a spot for you now. So I'm like, oh man, right? And then I phoned a volunteer today. The phone rang in 3 minutes. Then I did my volunteer day, and I was terrible. It was so bad. It was freezing. I had mittens with no fingers. I had no idea what I was doing. They hired me as a production assistant. I didn't even know what it was. But I did the work, and they kept me going. The ALM at the time was named John Dreyer. And he kept calling me, and then I trained, and everything else I learned was on set from other people.
Yeah. Being on set actually teaches you a lot of different things, even if you're just observing. Right, and PAs kind of are everyone kind of has that experience. You're just thrown in, there's about 10 of you, right? They just kind of send you, and you're just I don't know what I'm doing today. I'm just running around. But you learn a lot, even as an actor. Every set's different, right?
Oh, yeah.
People are different, and how people operate is different. So I think a lot of that you can go through training, but you've learned through experience.
Absolutely.
And it kind of catapulted you into where you are now.
So from there, I was in locations department for about 5 years. And then I had a little issue with the Directors Guild of Canada. I had a signature from the wrong person, and then they booted me. They kicked me out after 5 years. So it was but it was a good thing, I think, because instead of going the assistant director route, I ended up jumping into props with a prop master named Ron McCall. And I absolutely loved the department. So I volunteered 2 weeks on a film, and that got me going. And then Ron left to go film another movie, and then all of a sudden I ended up taking over for him. At the time he was doing the truck props, and I did that, and then all of a sudden, a few shows later, I'm a prop master. With my own truck and my own crew, and
calling the shots.
Hiring whoever I wanted to. I absolutely loved it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So then you kind of ended up in Vegas, right?
Yep.
And then you decided to open up your own production company.
That's correct. There's a few things in between. When I moved here back in 2008, I believe, it's been 15, 16 years, I would still go back to Canada and make a movie here and then. And then I had an onset injury, so I recovered in Vegas. And I loved it here so much that I ended up staying. To go back and forth. And then after I had my son, I took a lot of time off of film and television. because it was, at one point we were back in Canada for a short period of time. There was about, we did 3 movies a week in a row, and I did not see my son until Sunday.
Mm.
And he was literally living at the babysitter's house. And then after that, I came back to Vegas, and I kind of took a lot of time off. But we also bought a film school, the same one that I went to. So we ended up running that for 5 years in Canada. But then kind of 3.5 years into it, the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
So we kind of had to give that up. But then once everything shut down for COVID, PUA money started coming in. Everyone had nothing but time on their hands, so they were... I met Mark, the star of this movie. He just came over for karaoke one time. He hits me up on Facebook, said, let's make a movie. I'm like, all right. So we started writing it, and it took so long to get my first PUA check that it wasn't enough for the whole movie, but it was a bit of a lump sum. It was enough to at least start shooting.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I invested the money into the movie, picked up another investor along the way, and then all of a sudden, a few weeks later, we had a movie in the can.
Had a movie. Literally, every person's dream is trying to get enough to just have it become an actual thing, post-production, right? Mm-hmm. But I love that you never kind of gave up on film. You still kept your feet wet within film, whether it be having your school, right? Doing all of those things while obviously raising your son, which I applaud you for. And then you just started, you're just like, I'm just going to figure it out. Every day's a new day. And somehow you have been someone where you're just like, we'll see. And you ended up being like 2 weeks later, there you are. You're meant to be where you are. Yeah. So 6 Wheels from Hell, this is a movie that you're promoting currently. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about it. I know it's a horror, it's a suspense, right? Like the trucker has some crazy stuff going on in the back of his truck, right? Yep. Tell us the inspiration behind this film.
I actually had the idea in my head 15, 20 years ago.
Oh,
and once I met Mark, this stunt guy from LA, I mean, he's in Texas now doing his own stunt school and things like that. But extreme force stunts. He kind of inspired the character because he just looked like a trucker. And, he's in Texas right now, so that's kind of where I based the character was from Texas. It's a crazy truck driver with a torture chamber in the back of his murder bus. And, we filmed up at Nelson Ghost Town. Originally it was 18 Wheels from Hell. And we couldn't really find a semi. They were so expensive to rent at the time because they were the only people working. And during the pandemic was all the truckers delivering goods all over the place. So we could not really find a semi. But then when we were up in Nelson Ghost Town, they had all these crazy vehicles all over the property. And we found this murder bus. And we're like, does that thing run? And they're like, oh yeah, let me start it up for you.
Really? They run?
Mark jumped right in it. Tony, the guy that owns Nelson Ghost Town, he gave him a little lesson, and then Mark was driving that thing around. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. I didn't know those cars ran up there because they sit out there all day in the heat. People took photo shoots and touch it and stuff.
Yeah, it's still up there. You can go visit the murder bus. Amazing.
And so right now, I know that you're getting it on streaming platforms. I know Vudu is one of them, correct? Is it up?
Yes, on August 4th it was released. It's on Vudu, Spectrum, DirecTV, Screambox, and Hoopla.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you. You're going for 0 to 100. You're like, okay, we're not going to stop at 1. We're going to get it everywhere. But absolutely amazing. How was the process for you? I know it's just kind of like post-pandemic, you're kind of getting your feet wet. This is like one of your first feature films that you're like, okay, well, we're going to see. It is, are you prepared to do more? Was it great?
Yeah, this was our first of hopefully many. We kind of had to wait for this one to get out there, so we can show the world that we have a finished product. So depending if we crowdfund or if we try to find investors, we can show them the finished product, show them that it's distributed around the world, and that we can go. So currently I have 14 feature films written, ready to go.
Wow.
It's a possibility that working with one of our producers' cousins in Thailand, that they want to make a film over there. So we just wrote a film. I'm not going to say too much about it, just in case. I don't want to jinx it. Because these things, sometimes they come to fruition, sometimes they don't. But if all goes well, hopefully we'll be in Thailand for the next one, and then come back to Vegas and do a bunch more here. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
And so, what is your goal with Cybrid Entertainment? Obviously, apart from making feature films, are you trying to be someone huge in Vegas? Do you want to just also become something huge around the country, around the world? Do you want to focus only on films, or are you looking more so doing everything, documentaries, commercial, stuff like that?
I think personally, I prefer feature films myself. I like watching documentaries and things like that, but they don't interest me as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
I tried a little bit in a reality show in Vegas here. It didn't go, but sometimes those things happen. And
It's a lot. Reality TV is a lot.
And then I realized that wasn't my thing either.
Yeah.
So I think I just want to stick with the feature films and see what happens. Mostly horror, but we'll branch off into other things eventually.
I was just going to ask, what kind of is that? Obviously, now horror is your thing, but is that kind of what you always lean more towards, or is that just kind of what always comes to you idea-wise? Is mostly horror stories?
Yeah, mostly. Love watching comedy, so I always throw some funny moments in the movies as well. And there are a couple other scripts that I have that are leaning more towards the comedy than the horror. And another one that's more of like a Tomb Raider kind of action film, things like that, with a little horror.
I love it. I love how hardworking you are, because obviously a lot of people are like, oh my god, I've been writing the same script for about 10 years. I don't know. I can't focus on one. But you're like, I have 14 written. They're just waiting. Like anyone.
Yeah, well, that's what I figured. And I write them with budget in mind, to try to keep the budget as low as possible. Some of them are really high budget, and some of them are lower, some of them are middle. So when it comes time to be able to shoot something, maybe we can only shoot something on a super low budget. Maybe we can do something a little higher. I'll have the option. Well, I got this script, or this script. Which one should we do? Right.
But you're ready though. You're sitting there like, I'm ready. And I love that. I 100% respect people that are 100% here for it. So was there a time when you started working in film that you always wanted this to be the end result? That you saw yourself doing this, or do you just kind of figure it out as you went along?
Yeah, I mean, I've only ever had two dreams, and that was to work in movies and music. And in Vancouver, I also, before all the movie stuff, I was in a band called Yeah Whatever, which is a shirt, which is also on the soundtrack for Six Wheels from Hell, which is on AmelianRecords.com. AmelianRecords.com. So yeah, I always wanted to incorporate music in movies. So this Six Wheels from Hell is very music-oriented. We got a bunch of Canadian bands on there, some from America. We got a Brazilian band on there. And then, the whole movie is just filled with wicked awesome music.
I love it, though. You're bringing all of, what's true to you into your work of art and giving them a chance to shine. So, with you being in Las Vegas, and film obviously being an up-and-coming thing here, it's called now Hollywood 2.0, right? You got Mark Wahlberg, everyone wants to have a production company here now. What do you see as a future for Las Vegas? And do you feel it's important to start to look at Las Vegas locals talent versus always outsourcing? Because I know that's a very popular thing for things filmed out here.
Very good question. Well, I feel like I've been here 15 years. I've only ever made one movie in Vegas, and I had to do it by myself. I had to do it on my own. Because the industry is very small here. There are some companies like the Mahal Empire that are doing very well. They've, figured out how to crowdfund like phenomenally, and so they've been able to make a career out of it. For a lot of people, crowdfunding is a 24/7 job. It is very, very, very difficult, and especially people are, it's hard. People don't have money these days, and the pandemic and inflation and everything. It's hard to ask people for money, right? And that kind of thing. So I think if Sony builds their studio here, if Disney builds their studio here, it'll open up a lot of doors for the filmmakers here, and I really hope they do. I hope the tax credit comes through. I emailed the governor, and she, not the governor, one of the senators that was proposing the bill in Nevada. She emailed back. Very good response, and they're working very hard to get the bill passed. I haven't checked in on it to see if it has yet or not. So hopefully that all goes well, because that would open the doors for all of the filmmakers that are already here that have experience, that can step into those roles in the studios, which would then some of us are driving for Lyft and other things like that, trying to get by. But if we have those opportunities, we can then subsidize our independent films by working on the big productions as well, because we'll be getting the big paychecks again, like I used to in Canada. I miss those days.
Yeah, because everyone focuses on LA and New York or big cities. And they don't like to look what's here because they just go on the assumption of what Vegas has, right? What it's like, oh, we're not going to find anything here, so they don't even try, right? So they always outsource. And as someone who is in film and as a trained actor, it's kind of like, well, I love living here. I don't want to just go somewhere hoping to be now one in a million fish in a pond. Right. Like I would love to kind of see things have opportunity for us who. No, we have the talent, and everyone's coming to Vegas. Vegas has places where people can film because everything's coming to commercials, right? Tons of stuff they shoot for hotels. Yeah. There are different things. So I always love getting a filmmaker's point of view because when you look for talent, so obviously you're also a writer of your films. You obviously have someone in mind, a type of actors in mind for your characters. Do you prioritize trying to give people those chances that maybe can't?
Yeah. Well, in my film, besides Mark, the main actor, who was mostly a stunt guy in a lot of other films in Hollywood before he moved to Texas, all the 4 lead teenagers, their first time films, they had kind of had Cirque du Soleil background, martial arts backgrounds, things like that. So they've had training kind of in film, but not in film. Yeah. And they just knocked it out of the park. And then some of the other actors were just people that haven't had the opportunity. One was my karaoke host, Matthew Woodward, but he, did a lot of acting in school and training for it and things like that. And this was the first opportunity. Well, he's done some award-winning short films, and things like that. But he, was able to step into one of the roles. And then some of the other people were just my karaoke buddies, because they're like, oh, I would love to be in a movie, and they were just so good. And there's so much talent here, untapped talent. And there's lots that have had quite a bit of film experience, like Mindy Gilkerson. She moved to Atlanta actually now, but she's been in tons of movies in Vegas. So she's managed to find her way into all those little indie films. Now she's doing very well for herself in Atlanta. Moved her whole family up there because the film industry is so big there in Atlanta. So we're hoping that the tax credit comes through and that Vegas becomes a hub. Yeah,
because all of us that live here don't kind of want to move. We would have moved, but we stay here. So we're like, no, why do we have to constantly go everywhere? We want to have our own community because everyone's profiting in different ways, right? Business, live entertainment, all those other things. Why can't film be a thing? So that's why I'm always like, I'm really patient. I'm going to wait. I'm going to do what I'm going to do now, but I know we're made for more, right? It's that thing where, I see it coming in a very near future. Not like a 10-year thing. I feel like within the next 2 to 5 years, it's going to be...
Yeah, I think it's going to grow, and then it's going to grow. The need for film education is going to get higher. The need for people is going to get very high as well, too. Especially, if one studio comes, then another one's going to come. Then another one's going to come. And then all of a sudden, there's going to be... Like in Vancouver, I mean, when I was working there, I... sent out 2 resumes in my entire 20 years of film there, because I would just go from one production to another, to another, to another. Why? Well, there's 2 reasons. The Canadian dollar, and when you convert it, you save on your American dollar. But then their tax credit is so good that it just kept Hollywood coming back over and over and over and over. And I was always busy. I always had work.
That's the best thing that you could do. It's just, as long as you're always busy, that's the best of every artist's dream, right? Exactly. Amazing. But all it takes, I always say, is one person to start it and then to show that it's possible, and it becomes a domino effect. So, and I'm glad that you're already stayed in your place. You're like, hey, I already have started here. You guys can't get rid of me. I did it before everyone else did. You guys just didn't believe in it,
Well, there were a few people before me.
Right. But your guys right now there's no big Warner Brothers, no big Disney yet. We're all very local and we're all very proud of those things. So as you should be. Love seeing your hard work. Now I'm going to ask you one more question, as I did, the previous guest before you. Is there a philosophy that you live by?
Oh, philosophy. Well, I just like being nice to people. I think starting as a production assistant and not being treated very well for quite a while made me respect other people on set, no matter what their job is. Every single job is important. Doesn't matter if you're the director, the actor, sound, all of it doesn't work unless everyone's working together. So it's just like filming is a community. Your set is a community, and I don't know. I have a lot of fun on my sets.
Yeah, love to see that. There's always high stress. All sets. There's always all energies, personalities everywhere.
Which was kind of funny on occasion because right before like an intense torture scene, I'd just be on the radio cracking everybody up, and then they'd have to like.
Right, like stop! I can't. You understand, like. But absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being on here. Everyone, go stream 6 Wheels from Hell. Absolutely great energy, a hard worker, big dreams, and you're chasing them every step of the way, and just being kind while you do it. Like your energy is so mellow, like you know, like he's just here because he loves film, and that's what I love. And people really genuinely love what they do, and it's just for the sake of the craft instead of the recognition and what they get from it. You know, you're chasing the craft where you can contribute versus the result. You know, you see a lot of people that are like, no, I just want to be a star. So they just skip 20 steps, right? It builds character when you work for what you have, and he obviously has. So thank you so much. I love this energy. Please talk about where they can find you, what social media.
Okay.
Do you accept resumes and headshots from maybe people that are...
Oh, yeah. You can email me directly at evanallendirector@gmail.com. Our website is cybridentertainment.com, which is CYBRID. Entertainment.com. We have a lot of merch for the movie now at cybridentertainment.com/shop. You can get the graphic novel, you can get the shooting script on Amazon Books, and of course the movie is streaming all over on those 5 different streaming services.
A businessman. We love to see it.
Well, I got to make some money back so we can go make another movie, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's all it's for, the art. But we love to see it. We love your contribution, and you're only going to make it big. I'm glad that you're here. Oh my God. I'm like, oh my God, he's so big. He's sitting here on my show. But thank you so much for coming. I know it's not your first time on a social media show, so thank you for coming back. But everyone, Evan Allen, a round of applause for him. Check him out. Local actors, hit him up.
All right. Can everyone support their show, please?
Exactly. And everyone, please support his movie. I know we're going to have a feature on the other show called Spotlight coming up next week where they're going to review the amazing movie by the amazing Evan Allen. So make sure to look out for that as well. And,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. When we come back, you know, I always know I'm not done talking. So I'll see you guys after the break.